Welcome to this rigorous scientific lecture on nanophotonic sensors operating near exceptional points, where tiny perturbations cause unusually large spectral shifts. In modern sensing applications, we face a fundamental challenge. How do we detect extremely small changes in our environment? Whether we're measuring single molecules, minute temperature variations, or trace chemical concentrations, we need sensors that amplify tiny signals into measurable responses. Traditional optical sensors are fundamentally limited by their resonance line width. A typical cavity has a quality factor Q, and the minimum detectable perturbation scales inversely with Q. But there's a limit to how high we can push Q in practice. Here's an important question. Can we break this conventional scaling law? Can we achieve sensitivities that scale better than 1 over Q? The answer lies in a special class of degeneracies, called exceptional points. Let's understand what exceptional points are from a rigorous mathematical perspective. In quantum mechanics and photonics, systems are described by Hamiltonians or effective Hamiltonians. For conservative systems, these are Hermitian matrices with real eigenvalues and orthogonal eigenvectors. But real systems have gain and loss. When we include these, our Hamiltonian becomes non-Hermitian. The eigenvalues can be complex, and something remarkable happens at special points in parameter space. Consider a simple two-mode system. H is a 2 by 2 matrix. The diagonal elements are omega 0 plus I gamma, representing the resonance frequency and decay rate. The off-diagonal elements kappa represent the coupling between modes. At an exceptional point, not only do the eigenvalues become degenerate, but the eigenvectors also coalesce. This is fundamentally different from a diabolic point, where only eigenvalues are degenerate. The eigenvalues are lambda plus minus equals omega 0 plus I gamma plus or minus kappa. When kappa goes to 0, we reach an exceptional point where both eigenvalues and eigenvectors merge. Let's explore the mathematical properties that make exceptional points special for sensing. Near an exceptional point, when you apply a small perturbation epsilon, the eigenvalue splitting doesn't scale linearly with epsilon. Instead, it scales as the square root of epsilon. This is a direct consequence of the coalescence. For a north-order exceptional point, the eigenvalue splitting scales as epsilon to the power of 1 over n. For a second order, EP, that's square root of epsilon. For a third order, it's epsilon to the 1/3. You might ask, why is this square root scaling useful for sensing? If the splitting is smaller as square root instead of linear, doesn't that make it worse? The key insight is that we're looking at how the eigenfrequency changes, not just the splitting. In the complex frequency plane, an exceptional point creates a branch point. Two eigenvalue surfaces come together and form a Riemann surface topology. When you encircle the EP in parameter space, the eigenvalues are exchanged. Let's build physical intuition with a concrete example of two coupled optical resonators. Consider two identical microring resonators. One has optical gain, the other has loss. They're coupled with strength kappa. This is a classic parity time symmetric system. This system has parity time symmetry. The gain in one resonator exactly balances the loss in the other. PT symmetric systems can have entirely real eigenvalues despite being non-Hermitian. The Hamiltonian now has plus I gamma in the first resonator and minus I gamma in the second. The coupling kappa is real and symmetric. The eigenvalues are omega 0 plus or minus the square root of kappa squared minus gamma squared. Notice what happens when kappa equals gamma. When kappa equals gamma, the term under the square root vanishes. This is the PT symmetry breaking point, and it's exactly an exceptional point. Below this threshold, eigenvalues are real. Above it, they become complex conjugates. Let's do a back-of-the-envelope calculation with realistic parameters for silicon microring resonators. Consider silicon microrings with radius 10 micrometers operating at wavelength 1.55 micrometers. A typical quality factor is 10,000, though you can push higher with careful design. The resonance frequency is omega 0 equals 2 pi c over lambda, which is approximately 1.22 times 10 to the 15 radians per second. The decay rate gamma equals omega 0 over 2q, which gives us about 6.1 times 10 to the 10 radians per second. To reach the exceptional point, we need coupling kappa equal to gamma, so about 61 gigahertz. This corresponds to a gap between rings of roughly 100 nanometers, which is feasible to fabricate. Now let's understand precisely how sensing works near an exceptional point. When a target molecule binds to the sensor surface, it changes the local refractive index. This shifts the resonance frequency by a small amount delta omega. The frequency shift is delta omega equals alpha n times the target volume over the mode volume. Here alpha is a geometric overlap factor, and n is the refractive index change. For a single protein molecule, the volume is roughly 10 cubic nanometers. A typical optical mode volume in a microring might be 1 cubic micrometer, so 10 to the 6 cubic nanometers. This gives a fractional frequency shift of about 10 to the minus 8. In absolute terms, that's only a few megahertz, which is challenging to detect directly. So how does operating near an exceptional point help? The key is that we're not measuring the small frequency shift directly. Instead, we measure how the eigenmodes split. Let's work out the mathematics of eigenvalue. Splitting near an exceptional point. Suppose the perturbation delta omega appears only in the first resonator. This breaks the symmetry slightly. The perturbed Hamiltonian has omega 0 plus delta, omega plus I gamma in the first element, and omega 0 minus I gamma in the second. The eigenvalues become omega 0 plus delta omega over 2, plus or minus the square root of kappa squared minus gamma squared, plus delta omega squared over 4. Near the exceptional point where kappa approximately equals gamma, the term kappa squared minus gamma squared is very small. The splitting is dominated by the square root of delta omega squared over 4. Wait, this gives splitting proportional to delta omega, not square root. What happened? The square root enhancement comes from a different scenario. The true square root enhancement emerges when we consider encircling the exceptional point in parameter space. The key is when the perturbation affects both the coupling kappa and the frequency simultaneously. This happens naturally in many sensing scenarios, where the refractive index change affects both parameters. Let's say delta kappa equals beta delta omega, where beta is some proportionality constant depending on the geometry. Now the eigenvalue splitting scales as the square root of delta kappa squared plus delta omega squared, which goes as square root of delta omega. This is the square root enhancement. Let's compare sensitivities numerically between conventional and exceptional point sensors. A conventional resonant sensor has sensitivity delta lambda over delta n equal to lambda 0 over effective index, which is about 300 nanometers per refractive index unit. With quality factor 10,000 and a line width of 0.15 nanometers, the minimum detectable refractive index change is about 10 to the minus 6 refractive index units. Near an exceptional point, if we have a perturbation that's 10 to the minus 8, taking the square root gives 10 to the minus 4, but we're measuring this against a very small splitting. The enhancement factor can be 100 or more. This graph compares sensitivity. The conventional sensor has linear response, shown in blue. The exceptional point sensor has square root response, shown in red, which amplifies small signals much more effectively. Now let's discuss the practical challenges of implementing exceptional point sensors. The first challenge is fabrication tolerance. To operate exactly at an exceptional point requires precise control of coupling kappa and loss gamma. Typical fabrication variations of a few nanometers can push you away from the EP. The solution is active tuning. You can use thermal optic or electro-optic effects to adjust parameters in real time and maintain operation near the EP. This adds complexity but is feasible. The second challenge is noise amplification. The same mechanism that amplifies signal also amplifies noise. Near an exceptional point, the system becomes extremely sensitive to any perturbation, including thermal fluctuations. The signal-to-noise ratio scales as square root of delta omega over square root of delta omega noise. If both scale the same way, you might not gain anything. Careful noise management is essential. Third challenge is limited dynamic range. The square root enhancement only works for small perturbations very close to the EP. Large perturbations push you away from the EP, and you lose the enhancement. Several groups have demonstrated exceptional point sensors experimentally. Let's look at key results. In 2017, Viersig theoretically predicted enhanced sensing at exceptional points for microcavities, showing the square root scaling law explicitly. In 2018, Chen and colleagues experimentally demonstrated exceptional point sensing using coupled optical resonators with controlled gain and loss. They measured enhancement factors of 5 to 10 times compared to conventional sensors for the same quality factor. This confirmed the theoretical predictions. By 2020, groups achieved single nanoparticle detection using exceptional point sensors, demonstrating the ultimate sensitivity limit. The physics becomes even more interesting when we consider higher-order exceptional points. An n-order exceptional point occurs when n eigenvalues and their corresponding eigenvectors all coalesce simultaneously. This requires tuning n-1 independent parameters. The sensitivity scaling improves to epsilon to the 1 over n. For a third-order EP, that's epsilon to the 1/3, which is even better than square root. A third-order exceptional point requires at least 3 coupled resonators with carefully balanced gain and loss. The fabrication and control challenges increase significantly. You might ask, is there a fundamental limit to the order of exceptional points we can create? In principle, no. But practically, noise and fabrication constraints limit us to second or third order. Let me give you an analogy to build intuition for the square root enhancement. Imagine you're walking on a narrow ridge between 2 valleys. In most places on the ridge, a small step sideways moves you a small distance down. But at a special point where the ridge becomes a sharp peak, a small step sideways causes you to roll much farther down. The exceptional point is like that sharp peak. A tiny perturbation in parameter space causes the system to respond much more dramatically than it would away from the EP. Mathematically, the response function has a singularity at the exceptional point. The derivative of eigenvalues with respect to parameters diverges. This is the origin of the enhanced sensitivity. Exceptional points have applications beyond sensing. Let me briefly mention a few. In lasers, exceptional points can be used for robust single-mode operation. The mode that survives is determined by which side of the EP you approach from. Encircling an exceptional point can cause chiral mode switching, where energy transfers completely from one mode to another depending on the direction of encircling. This has applications in optical switching. The enhanced response near EPs can be used to boost light-matter interactions in cavity quantum electrodynamics, potentially lowering thresholds for nonlinear optical effects. Let's work through a complete calculation for a realistic exceptional point sensor design. Suppose we want to detect a protein at concentration of 100 attomolar. That's 10 to the minus 16 molar, corresponding to about 60 molecules per microliter. Our sensor has an active area of 100 square micrometers. If we have a solution layer of 1 micrometer thickness, the volume is 10 to the minus 10 liters. The number of molecules in this volume is concentration times volume times Avogadro's number, which gives us about 6 molecules that we need to detect. Each binding event causes a local refractive index change of about 10 to the minus 7, but this is averaged over the mode volume. The effective fractional frequency shift is about 10 to the minus 9 when averaged over the mode volume. A conventional sensor with quality factor 10,000 has a line width limited detection threshold of about 10 to the minus 7. We cannot detect this signal. An exceptional point sensor gives square root of 10 to the minus 9, which is about 3 times 10 to the minus 5. This splitting of 30 GHz is readily measurable with modern photodetectors. The exceptional point provides approximately a factor of 100 enhancement in sensitivity, making this measurement feasible. Let's conclude by discussing fundamental limits and future research directions. The ultimate sensitivity limit is set by quantum noise, specifically shot noise in the optical field. Even at an exceptional point, you cannot violate the standard quantum limit without using squeeze light. The minimum detectable frequency shift scales as 1 over square root of the number of photons. This is the quantum Kramer-Rao bound. An exciting open question is whether fully quantum exceptional points, where quantum coherence is preserved, can provide even better sensitivity. This is an active area of research. Future work will focus on integrating EP sensors with silicon photonics and other nanophotonic platforms for practical, chip-scale sensing applications. Machine learning algorithms can potentially track and maintain operation at the exceptional point in real time, compensating for drift and environmental variations. Let me summarize the key physics we've covered today. First, exceptional points are special degeneracies, where both eigenvalues and eigenvectors coalesce, creating branch point topology in parameter space. Second, near an exceptional point, The eigenvalue splitting scales as square root of the perturbation rather than linearly, providing enhanced sensitivity. Third, parity-time symmetric systems with balanced gain and loss naturally exhibit exceptional points at the symmetry breaking threshold. Fourth, experimental demonstrations have shown enhancement factors of 10 to 100 times compared to conventional sensors. Fifth, exceptional points have applications in ultrasensitive sensing, laser mode control, and topological photonics. Exceptional points represent a fascinating intersection of non-Hermitian physics, topology, and practical applications. The ability to amplify tiny perturbations through the square root scaling makes them powerful tools for sensing at the nanoscale. The field is rapidly evolving. New theoretical predictions and experimental demonstrations appear regularly, pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Thank you for your attention. I hope this rigorous introduction has given you both the mathematical foundation and physical intuition to understand and perhaps work with exceptional point sensors in your own research.